Turning to another important story, the FBI reporting that more than 80 children were identified and located in a national sex trafficking ring this month in something called Operation Cross Country. The agency says the 84 minors were victims of child sex trafficking and child sexual exploitation. 37 of them were actively missing children. The average age of the victims, 15 years old. The youngest, just 11 years old. Overall, 200 trafficking victims were rescued here, and these are the 5 states that are leading the country in reported trafficking cases. You can see California sitting at number 1. Here to talk about this growing problem and this nationwide bust is Melissa Snow, the executive director of sex trafficking programs at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, as well as Tracy Walder, former CIA officer and special agent with the FBI. Thank you so much both for being here.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Tracy, I do want to start with you. Great to see you. And we know this is a massive operation. What can you tell us about the planning and the execution of something like this?
Well, it's good to see you again, too. Really, it's actually quite remarkable. I think when we think of the FBI, we think about badge and gun-carrying agents, but really what I want to give a lot of credit here, too, is actually the analysts, the folks that are doing tech analysis, the folks that are doing chain link analysis, and the victim specialists as well. Really, they are the ones that put the pieces of this puzzle together. And for something of this scope, it involved multiple intelligence analysts across multiple offices. And I'm even seeing now that the FBI is in talks with Taiwan, quite frankly, to stop sex trafficking networks down in Southeast Asia. So really, this is a remarkable reach of the FBI. And quite frankly, it's going to take that office by office support in order to get this job done, because the reality is they are being trafficked over state lines.
Right. And Melissa, I want to turn to you. I was shocked to see the youngest victim was just 11 years old. There was a study released by the UN that said that COVID and the pandemic has had a devastating impact on human trafficking. And I do want to bring up this quote. The pandemic has increased vulnerabilities to trafficking in persons while making trafficking even harder to detect and leaving victims struggling to obtain help and access to justice. Can you quickly help explain how bad is the situation right now?
Absolutely. Well, it's really an honor to be here with you and talking about this important topic. We certainly saw at the National Center a significant increase in reporting during the pandemic. There was an increase in individuals that were, accessing technology from their home and were not in supervised locations. And we know that, unfortunately, that leads to certain illicit activity increasing. We also saw an increase in children missing from care that were leaving those locations at higher rates, oftentimes because they didn't want to, be locked down in a certain facility, or they didn't feel stuck to a certain extent. And so we saw those rates increase. So in 2021, NCMEC received over 17,200 reports of possible child sex trafficking, which is an all-time high for us.
Thank you for putting that in perspective. Tracy, I want to turn it back to you. What kind of charges could the child traffickers face once caught?
I mean, really, they're looking at federal trafficking charges, and that can carry as much as 20 years per charge. And so that's quite significant, because we're looking at hundreds of children here, perhaps even thousands if we keep fleshing this out. And so I think that most of these folks are looking at interstate commerce charges, interstate trafficking of minors. They can pile on the different charges, but really the trafficking charge in and of itself is going to carry that 20-year sentence, as well as pedophilia.
And Melissa, what are some of the things that parents or guardians, even teachers or mentors, need to watch out for? How can we keep our kids safe?
Absolutely. So that's such an important question. And I think, we are really seeing an increase in information and awareness that is being provided, especially within schools. One of the things that at the National Center we're starting to try to raise more awareness on is the prevalence of familial trafficking. And teachers especially have a crucial role in helping to identify some of those signs. I think some of the things that we recommend people looking for is drastic changes in a child's behavior or activity. If there's things that they really enjoyed previously that all of a sudden they're saying they don't want to participate in, or they don't enjoy. Those types of behaviors, as well as behavior online, where that behavior, their activity, the things that they're posting become a little bit more involved in things that they previously were not involved in. And so those types of activities, those concerns, we want parents to be vigilant and really monitoring their online friends list and the activity that they're doing online, as well as reporting things that they are concerned about.
And I do want to pick up that social media thread with you, Tracy. How has social media changed the way that agencies combat trafficking? Because, we saw today apparently 83% of active 2020 sex trafficking cases involved online solicitation. So how can we possibly get out in front of that when so much takes place in DMs or very crowded channels?
Oh, you're absolutely right. And the statistics that Melissa has provided are really just staggering. In terms of the social media, it's funny. I like to use this perspective. When I first started at the Bureau, we had one agent in the entire LA field office that was really dedicated to online sex trafficking. Now there's dozens dedicated to that. So, the FBI is putting resources towards that, but we can only monitor the sites that we know about. And then that's what really becomes problematic. We can look at DMs if we have access to be able to do that, but we can only monitor the sites that we know about. And so I think also, Melissa was talking about parent education. I think it also involves education of businesses. Employees are online surfing sites, that they don't know are necessarily a threat, that becomes a problem as well. So there's this whole education that needs to go across many different facets of the community.
Melissa Snow, Tracy Walder, thank you so much for your time tonight. It's a complex issue. We certainly appreciate the context and insight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.